All right, YouTube, this is Mr. Mean coming at you this Sunday evening about 6 p.m. in very sunny, not so sunny Duluth. Still snowing. Been snowing all day. I've got two, count them, two fine gentlemen from Gyrmforge on the line with me. And we're going to talk about 3D printing and the business and everything that involves that. So, Mr. Chris, please introduce yourself, sir. You're muted.
How's that?
Better.
Okay.
We are nothing but professional here, boy.
Yes. We all work in the IT field, can't you tell?
Yep.
So I'm one of the three founders of Gyrmforge. We started this, I think, almost 4 years ago now. I run all the printers. I handle all the orders.
And what's the
all
website?
The questions. Gyrmforge.com.
And what do you guys do?
3D print tabletop gaming terrain, mostly.
Specifically, right?
And we actually do a lot of R&D work with different groups as well.
Cool. And then your cohort there, your partner in crime, the Master Blaster, Mr. James Eby. Introduce yourself.
I'm James Eby. I do a lot of the social media stuff and update the site.
So what that really means, everyone listening at home, is he gets paid for doing nothing. All
100%. Right. I agree.
Hey, I like it because you didn't argue and Chris didn't argue. You know, sometimes partners will be like, oh, no, he works very hard. Chris didn't say a damn word. I love it. All right. So I know James. We James and I actually work together. So, Chris, a lot of this is going to focus on you, sir. What was the first question? Question number one. What was the lure of 3D printing for you?
I used to do a lot of work with machine shops. So being able to build a tiny machine that sat on my desk and created me whatever I wanted was kind of the driving factor from the original 3D printer.
Cool. And why gaming? Why the focus on gaming?
Well, I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons since 1990.
Nerd.
Yeah. No,
I don't
denying
even tell you
that.
how long I've been playing. A lot longer than that.
Well, I mean, I started when I was 9, so.
Hey, way to make me feel old, buddy. Okay.
There you go.
Um,
Yeah, so it was just kind of, I've always enjoyed tabletop RPGs. And then suddenly I found a way to bring a third dimension to that.
I see what you did there. Nice. And how long have you been doing this? How long have you and James been doing this?
We're at, 4.5 years, give or take?
I think coming up on 4 years.
So, and obviously this is a for-profit business. And Chris, where are you based out of?
Calgary.
And James?
Calgary.
Right. So this is a Canadian-based company.
Yep.
We won't hold that against you here in America because we like Canada. It's America's hat.
Hey, man, your dollar's strong. You get a discount every time you buy something.
I know. I love it. And then, Chris, how many printers do you actually have?
15, maybe.
Wow. 15
maybe more.
Printer. And do you maintain a full-time job, or is Gyrmforge your full-time job?
No, I'm a systems administrator on top of doing all the 3D printing.
Wow. So unlike James and I, you're really busy.
Yeah. My day usually starts at 6 a.m. and it's not uncommon to end at 10. So
wow.
p.m.
Is that both your day job and the Gyrmforge stuff? Just makes for
the day job is your standard 8 to 4.
Yeah. Some of us are lucky. We do 7 to 3:30, but
I used to do 6:30 to 3:30. That was great.
Yeah, I'm
in the morning.
I hate going to work in the wintertime when it's dark and then coming home when it's dark. And so luckily, the company that I work for is very flexible on its hours. And so they allow me to adjust them appropriately. I'm technically only get a 30-minute lunch, but as being in IT, a lot of times I don't get a lunch. So it all works out in the end. So James, why did you decide to hook up with Mr. Chris? I mean, because obviously he's a man of taste and culture. So why would he let a lowlife like you into his world? That's what I'm trying to figure out. It's what everyone wants to know, by the way.
currently off from work for about a month, and he's like, "Hey, I've got 3 printers. Do you want to start a company?" And I said, "Yes, I'm in." And then he's like, "Hey, I need this amount of money," and I said, "I don't have that," but we still made it work. We brought in another partner, and we were able to get the funds together, and we started what is now Gyrmforge. So it was mostly just to hang out and play D&D and have neat stuff to throw in, but it sort of grown, and now we have almost a culture around us from gamers and memes and stuff like that on our Facebook. So
Yeah.
we also have all of the pieces that we can build. So
Yeah. So, needless to say, the gaming table must look amazing, right?
It does.
Who's the GM? Is it one of you?
Usually me. Yeah,
Oh,
usually me.
nice. Welcome to my world, Chris. I've been doing it forever. Back in the late '70s, my mom bought me this little Ziploc bag that had 2 pamphlets in it and a piece of cardstock that had 1 through 0 instead of 10, in multiples of each. And my mom sat down on the floor with me, and we cut them all out. And my mom was my first game master, or dungeon master. And I still have that original set of D&D signed by Gary Gygax and Dave Arness. So it's a very treasured heirloom in my collection. I've been doing this since the beginning as well, and it's a great hobby. And the fact that you guys can do these I've been on the website, I've drooled over it. And you guys can make this awesome stuff that brings the table to life and the hobby to life is just purely fantastical. And it's kudos to you guys for just making cool shit is the bottom line. There's no other way to put it. It is super neat. And I'm a big fan. So, and I think 3D printing is where it's at. It's the next phase of the evolution, and unfortunately COVID came and kicked us in the balls. And so I had actually had a plan. I was on your website and I looked at it. There was a couple of things I wanted and I was about to pull the trigger, and then we, had to quarantine, and I was like, well, I'm going to hold off, and kind of wish I wouldn't have, but in a way I'm glad I did, because it's been a couple of months now, like 6-7 months since we've been able to game in person. For my local, I run a Pathfinder 2nd edition game that's been going for a little bit over a year now. And it's a blast. I love it. Sounds like you guys are big fans of the hobby. Chris, why did you want to get into this? I mean, aside from being able to put something on your table that you said I made, was it the technology? Was it the architecture? Was it just, hey, I can make a buck off of this, or the love of the game, or you wanted your own cool shit? What drove you?
Well, I started off with my own cool shit, and then it's people started asking, where did you get that? Where can I get that?
Right.
And it was, well, you need a 3D printer. And then,
How do I
at
get
that
one
time,
of those?
people's eyes just glazed over, and they're like, plastic squirting robot. No, that's not for me.
Leave James's girlfriend out of this. Oh, I couldn't resist. I'm sorry, buddy. I love you. I love you. I love you like a play, cuz. I really figured it was because James kept bugging you to make his character in 3D, and so you're like, wait a minute, I can probably make money off of this,
No, James doesn't have a character long enough for it to warrant a mini.
I was going through a character a week for a while, and I did that like 6 weeks in a row. So characters didn't even get names unless they lasted 3 weeks.
Wow, are you that brutal, Chris, or is he just that bad of a player?
Yes to both.
Yeah, there's a reason I have the nickname of Mr. Mean, and I'll leave it at that. The first combat of our Pathfinder game on Friday night, the monk went down like a wet sack of potatoes. From one hit, my monster got a critical and just then drug him under the water to help him die faster. So yeah, I feel you, Chris. I totally get it. And there's satisfaction.
Another part of James's problem is he likes fancy dice that always roll poorly. So
you gotta infuse them with karma, James. You have to hold on to a set.
I have bowls of dice.
Same here. I have a pirate chest that's about yay big and yay tall, and it's just chock full of all kinds of dice. I actually put a couple pictures up in my Discord. Now, I saw you guys have a Discord, and James gave me access to it, but I can't see anything because nobody's added anything. It sounds like it's your guys' for your game for the most part. But do you and you're active on Facebook, right?
Yes, and I've sent you the link so you can put it in the.
I will. I'll put it in the show notes. I'm an anti-Facebooker. The Earth is also flat, just so everyone knows. Because that's usually the conversation is, why aren't you on Facebook? I'm like, I can't stand Facebook. I got off of it about 2 years ago, and I haven't been happier since that day. I said delete. That's just me, though. I understand people love Facebook. I can't stand it. It's just me. I'm on MeWe, and MeWe does everything I want it to do. So, and of course YouTube. I get my jollies here from talking to guys like you. So, coming up on 4 years. Do you think this will be a business that one day you can quit your day job, Chris?
Possibly
After the pandemic.
Yeah, I mean the pandemic is definitely it's put a binder on the brick and mortar.
Yeah.
But we are doing Warhammer streams weekly Saturdays currently.
Yeah. And do you make James slave away at clipping off all the supports when you get a big order that has to go out? You make him put him to work?
No, that's all me.
Dude.
We used to when we had events to go to for Comic Cons and stuff like that. We do big support removal parties. And
yeah, you kind of have to, right? And then, so Chris, for those out there that are uninitiated, I know a little bit only because I did a little research because it does intrigue me. Being an IT guy, I like tech. So, what's in the layman's version? What is 3D printing? How does it work? What does it do for you?
It melts plastic and creates three-dimensional objects based on a design file that you've either created or found from someone else who's done the work for you.
Now, do you guys create your own files, or do you guys like hire artists to make stuff for you, or a little bit of both?
So we carry licensing for a number of individual artists that do miniatures as well as Printable Scenery, who's our primary terrain supplier.
Right. So.
And then I do have some skill in SolidWorks. So I do all of our design work for our accessories like movement trays, war counters.
Awesome. So you make them, you plot them out in SolidWorks, and then you export them to like an STL file or some sort of file, and then your little plastic robot spits them out.
That's exactly right.
Man, that is amazing. That is super cool. And I saw on the website, you guys make everything from like weird dice to terrain, right, to miniatures.
Well, the weird dice are actually physical dice. I decided I hated money and bought a dice store.
I hated money and started a dice store. That is, I thought that's called gaming. Because Lord knows, you see the bookshelf behind me. That's 8 feet tall, 5 feet wide, and I got about, all said and told, about 20 boxes on either side of me that I have no room to put. So, and my wife swears if I buy another book, she'll kill me. I keep waiting for that day to be free, but she just doesn't follow through. But yeah, so wow, and you guys been doing this for, like we said, 4 years. You're in Calgary. What do you aside from you get to put something on the table that you like? What's the actual draw? Is it the creation process? Is it literally sitting there for hours watching that little robot spit plastic out, or is it just the joy of the finished product when you put it on the table? Or
I don't watch the 3D printers anymore.
You make James do that, right?
No, they do their thing. They're monitored over the internet and stuff, but when you first get one, I mean, you can sit and stare at the thing build a square for 10 hours and just be fascinated by it. But,
right. Each little line that goes when it's doing its slice, you're just like, wow.
It's additive machining is certainly more interesting to watch than destructive machining or subtractive machining.
Yeah.
or
I've
making
been tempted
spaghetti.
many times to pull the trigger, but I'm waiting for the technology to get a little better. In your professional opinion, because I think we can call you a professional, if you're a new guy and you're getting into this, what printer would you buy?
Probably an Ender 3.
And I've heard that from many people.
They're great printers right out of the box. I'd spend the extra couple bucks to get the Pro version over the standard version. Better power supply, better heat plate. And it's actually the base for most of our printers. And then I got all of the electronics and replaced them with higher end stuff.
Right.
But for the money, I can't build a frame for less than that. So it just makes sense to start there. And then throw another couple $100 worth of upgrades onto it, and then let it go.
Nice. James, from let's say the administrative side of it, to be polite, how's this last 4 years been for you? And like seeing the company grow, seeing hopefully some of your ideas come to fruition, that kind of stuff. What's it meant to you to be a part of this industry?
Oh, it's growing the community. It's getting that, like, we could be printing for substantially more and we could charge more. Absolutely. But one of the first things we said is we want to make this accessible for anybody. We don't want a price point to be I'd like to buy that mini, but it's $20. So we do it for $7.50, I believe it is, for a standard resin mini. So we're trying to make sure that everybody is able to get in, have the cool toys, and be able to come out and show them. So it's that piece that really was important to me up front.
Wow. And so you maintain the Facebook page. Does that take a lot of work? I mean, and do you do the website as well?
So I'm currently working on the website, and I'm hoping to have an update here in the next few days. But the Facebook page, when I don't have new content, I'm throwing up memes. So I'm trying to make sure it's funny and keeping it light, and people are able to get a good laugh through the day.
And so you're keeping it active is basically what you're doing, because we all know stagnation, kills anything. So
it does.
Letting people know that you're still out there, you're available to produce product for the gaming industry. That is super cool. Between the two of you, what's your favorite piece? We'll start with Chris first.
Oh, it probably changes weekly.
All right. Well, this week, what's your favorite? I'm putting you on the spot, buddy.
I just actually finished printing a new building, the Burgomasters building. Let me see if I can find it.
And while he's looking for it, James, what about you? And if you say a Blood Bowl figure, I will stab you.
100%. It has to be it's a flying ship, but it's like an octopus. It's surreal and weird. And I like that weird crap.
The Cthulhu, almost Cthulhu-esque type stuff.
Very much.
Yeah, it's more like I think it's a scourge flyer is what they call it. Yeah. It's more of a illithid.
Yeah, gotcha. From D&D. Yeah, Baldur's Gate is the hot PC game right now, and that's what the whole game is about right now, is the fighting those guys off and getting the worm out of your head before you change, so to speak. So I've been playing a little bit of that. I haven't dived into it since the new patch because computer games are a far second for me. I much prefer chucking dice and telling a story around the table or around the computer screen. Gosh, I'm drawing a blank. I had a bunch of questions I was going to ask you guys. I know James is a big Blood Bowl guy, and he's got tons and probably thousands of miniatures in his pile of shame. What's your pile of shame look like, Chris? James, I've talked to you. I know you have a pile of shame.
My pile of shame isn't that bad right now. Excuse me.
My pile of shame is actually kind of a wall.
Nice.
There's lots of terrain that I've been printing that I haven't gotten around to painting yet. Just so we have variety on the tables for our streams.
Are you an airbrush guy, or you just do it old school paintbrush?
I kind of do both, but I mean, in a previous life, I was an auto mechanic engine builder.
Yeah.
So I've broken every one of my fingers multiple times. So
Yeah.
I can hold a paintbrush for about an hour and then my hand cramps up. And
Right.
so it takes forever to get anything painted.
Totally understand. I'm the master of procrastination. I have a lovely airbrush kit over here. I just bought it earlier last year, and it's nice. It's a beginner set, because I was new to it. My buddy turned me on to it and was like, "Look how fast you can prime a miniature." And I was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna get so much done." Pile of shame is still as tall as me. So yeah, I feel your pain. Just sitting down that long hurts my back after a while. I'm old and fat, so.
Well, you're what, 55, 60 this year or something like that?
I know where you live, and I definitely know where you work. I will find you. I have a particular set of skills. They're absolutely worthless, but I have them. I will be 54 this summer, so I'm.
Wasn't off by much.
The word dick comes to mind, James. Just saying. Just tossing that out there, buddy.
James is right there behind you. So.
I know, right? He's like, what, 49, I think?
Ooh, ouch.
I think he's like 36 or something, right? Aren't you? How old are you, James? Come on, drop the bomb.
44.
44. Oh, my God. 1 foot in a grave, one in a banana peel. Well, Chris is only 36, but he's aged so much because he works with you. So Chris, obviously being a sysadmin, you deal with computers all day. Is the struggle real when like the 3D printers not working right, or printers in your case, and you have to come and troubleshoot and fight them? Is it just like, oh God? I mean, do you find it hard to trudge on, or do you just love it that much?
Well, the nice thing about a 3D printer failure is it's usually visual. So the problem is obvious. Like,
no one did sit there and tell you to turn it off and turn it back on again.
Yeah, there's this giant filament growth wrapped around the head. So
yeah, clean that off and you're good to go, right?
Yeah, and the other, there's the stupid user errors go way down because I'm the stupid user.
Right,
so.
right. When you eliminate the air gap, it's amazing how well it works, right? Or
yeah.
The ID10T error.
That's it.
So James, you obviously, I assume, benefit from this relationship by having awesome miniatures at your beck and call.
I have, yes, I have a few miniatures that have been printed, designed on Gyrmforge, and then printed out. So, yeah.
Chris, as a businessman, obviously running this, and we know you're the guy that does all the hard work behind the scenes, where James just takes the glory. What do you think about companies out there like Gyrmforge and the other STL printer companies? Is it a good competition, competitive environment, or is it like, oh God, these guys are doing this now, I gotta up my game, or I gotta does it annoy you, or do you like it, or is there room in the pond for everybody?
Everybody's kind of in their own little space. Like Gyrmforge, their primary, like they give you the design platform for your miniature.
Yeah, they are expensive too.
Yes, and then they, if you get it printed from them, especially when we started, they were just farming it out to Shapeways.
Really? That's pretty funny. So they had the web interface. You'd go in, design, make your miniature, and then you'd say print, pay for it, and then they would just send the files to Shapeways to print it off. That's amazing. Talk about just grabbing money, just falling out of the skies for them, which is awesome. I mean, good for them, all right? That's commerce, right? There's nothing wrong with that. That's seeing a gap in the business model and filling it, and there's nothing wrong with that. Do you enjoy what you do?
I do, or I wouldn't be doing it.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess you can say that.
It's real easy to liquidate and walk away.
Yeah. So, and James, how difficult is it to keep your finger on like the Facebook community and the web page? Like, do you get a lot of traffic with people saying, "Hey, can you do this?" and coming up with just asinine concepts, or is the community kind of like, I saw this over here, can you guys do this? I mean, How do you dictate what goes up on the website? I mean, what's the logic behind it? I mean, do you sit with Chris and brainstorm, we can make this range of scenery, or does Chris just say, hey, I'm going to make these things, and you take pictures and throw it up? Or
So typically everything is just taken from the printable scenery website. So they do the design and we put it up, and that's sort of your options. People have come to me with questions in the past. We had that gentleman who was looking for a 12-foot tall statue when we were in Regina, and we had a good chuckle at him because we're like, we can do that, but it'd be a foot by a foot chunks. So it might be cheaper to do that in a
masonry.
traditional, but
plaster.
yeah, typically it's more, I'd like this thing. Do you have something similar?
Right,
or
right.
In the case of most of our movement trays, we did have somebody come up and they said, hey, can you build this so we can put a washer in the bottom and magnetize it? So
Smart
it's
idea.
been a good mix of ideas and things like that. So,
and you feel the hobby is are you growing to meet the demands of the hobby? Do you feel you're at a good spot in the industry that this is something that's going to stay around? I mean, it's not a fad, right?
Oh, 100%. Like, think back when we were in our early teens and you'd be playing and salsa would hit the board, and now that's a monster of some sort, or a pizza crust hits the table and your marinara sauce is terrain now. And it's just taking that piece and making it more like this is a thing that is actually going to be able to be interacted with. This is my line of sight, and I can show you because now it's a room, or it's
Right.
the
It's
inn
physical.
that we're starting in, because every adventure starts in the inn.
With a wizard, right?
Chris just shakes his head. There's a bit of a story there.
Yeah, I think
one of our first events, every client that came up to the table was told that every adventure starts in the inn, and by the end of the weekend, I'd say it, and Chris would just cringe a little bit.
I don't blame
I think we
him.
sold that in.
I think we sold that in. Yeah, we burnt it to the ground.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Like every good D&D party, there was nothing left.
Yes, there was not another one printed to bring back the next year.
I will tell you, my best friend, his gaming group, when I think they were in college, high school or college, and they're big Warhammer fantasy roleplay friends. I'm a little bit older than them, so I wasn't in that group, and I didn't live in that area, but one of their fellow player characters died, and the wizard in the group was actually, unbeknownst to the rest of the party, a budding necromancer, and so he brought the dead player back to life, bolted a helmet to his chest piece so that his helmet couldn't come off, and said it was his new manservant, and it was actually the zombie of the dead player, and the rest of the party didn't know for like years. So it was, and they burnt down their favorite inn too on top of that. So yeah, I understand the type of players you guys are.
Oh yeah,
we're on the same plane. We get it. Yeah, and it's fun. Do you get a lot of call to do like 3D props for like LARP? Is that any a market you ventured into, or anything like that?
We've done a couple of cosplay pieces.
Oh, nice. Yeah, cosplay is getting really popular. Again, COVID is, stuck its ugly foot up its ass, and so, conventions are just not happening until further notice. But God, I hope that when this is over, that your guys' business just goes through the roof. I know I'll be placing an order. I'm hoping for that super special friend discount from James. I'm not counting on it, but I'm hoping for it.
Yeah, we'll charge you 10% more, no problem.
You see, and that's what I expect. That's friendship right there. You're furthering commerce. See, so it's a good thing. No, it's all good. Gosh, do you guys have anything you want to throw out there? I mean, there's only so much you can say about robots spitting out plastic. Chris, is there anything that comes to mind that you want to iterate or talk about?
Where we're working with a group of painters from Twitch. They're doing a community speed paint based off of one of our miniatures.
Sweet. So make sure James sends me that link, or you put it in chat here. and I'll make sure to include that in the video notes when this goes up on YouTube, because that sounds super cool. I don't know about you guys, but being a hobbyist painter myself, I am by no shape or form pro, but I do enjoy watching video painting videos, videos about painting miniatures, and I learn a lot from it. I'm a huge Nurgle fan, so I'm always looking at great ways to make my Nurgle guys look even more sick and putrid. And there's a lot of great, Pete the Wargamer is one of my favorite video channels, because I love his creativity and what he does with stuff, and then his painting skills are pretty top notch as well. So, and Squidmar's pretty cool. I just like his accent. He's funny. But yeah, and then of course Guerrilla Miniature Games is he's up there in Canada as well. Ash Barker, super nice guy. So when is there like big? I know you have Comic-Cons up there, but is there big gaming conventions that once this plague has left our Earth, you guys will be at in a business capacity to promote your business? Is that a plan?
We usually do the Calgary Comic Convention has a gaming area, or well, they did. I don't know if they're continuing with it. But the last year that they actually had the convention, we brought in it was 6 foot by 3 foot 3D printed dungeon that actually James's son ran all weekend long. And then there's a smaller group based here in Calgary that do miniature gaming conventions. And we're pretty big participants in that.
That's awesome. So you have a presence in the local scene. Any thoughts or dreams or hopes of going to like Gen Con or something like that, or Origins, or Dragon Con, the big US cons? Those are the 3 big ones.
I would love to. I don't know that we would ever be able to attend as a vendor, just because of the logistical nightmare of getting stock across the border and then back again, because you have to pay to export it and then pay to import it again.
Yeah, I was a customs agent for 10 years. I know your pain.
Yeah, and the appeal of having to pay for my own stuff twice.
Yeah.
For the
I
privilege
know, like
of
some of the
selling
gaming companies that are up there in Canada that do come to like Gen Con when I used to go. They bring what they think is going to be enough, and then 5% less. And then if they have anything left over, they just give it out. They trade bait, whatever. Because there's a thing that happens at Gen Con with the dealer's room, that it opens like an hour early for all the vendors, and everybody, runs their stuff over to, game X that they really like, and go, hey, here's a copy of my game if you give me a copy. And, that goes rampant. And it's a good time. There's a lot of interboard trading, as they say. But yeah, I get it, and moving technology across the border on top of that is just probably not feasible. Maybe you could bring one 3D printer and have it running, but inevitably in a place that's that crowded, someone's going to bump the table, and I gotta assume that's not good for a 3D printer.
Yeah, we did. There's a tiny little town out here called Vulcan, Alberta, and they actually have a comic convention every year. But it's, out in the middle of the prairie, so it's tiny.
The tundra,
right? It costs you $25 to get a table for the weekend.
So that tells you how small it is.
Yeah. Well, what we do there is we use that to just basically figure out what we want to take to larger conventions.
What works, what doesn't work, that kind of thing.
And so we had the last one there. We went to. We brought a 3D scanner that was driven by an old Microsoft Kinect.
Wow, really?
And so we had a couple kids that it was a little bit of a challenge trying to get them to spin in a circle correctly.
But you got it.
We would get scans of the kids, and then we had a printer there, and we'd print off a little bust of
that's really cool.
Of the people, and then they'd go off with it. But again, it's the scanning feature was a little bit of a trick to get it working.
I'm sure.
And then it was, you have to print it large enough so they can tell what it is, but small enough that it finishes in an hour.
Right. Not
So
weeks.
yeah, it was, it was a neat gimmick, but it's probably not something that we would be able to feasibly do at a large convention.
Right, right. And James, do you do do you have any like affiliations or any work with like local charities or anything? Is there anything like that on the horizon?
We've done work with what is the blood one, where they raise money for the for blood drives in Canada. So we do some work there. This year, of course, there's not much happening,
Right.
but we've done that. We've donated in the past to what is the Winter Mayhem group, which for Blood Bowl, which donates most of the proceeds, or all the proceeds, sorry, to the veterans food banks here. So we do try to keep active and help out. So
Cool.
just this year has been a little
Challenging.
tougher to get everybody together. So
Well, I mean, I hope, I got like, I think 857, 860 subscribers. They're a bunch of rabid, meanie animals. So hopefully it'll flood you guys with some business, and you'll get some support that way. So hopefully that will work out. I think what you guys do is really cool. I love your website. It's very simple. It's easy to navigate. And obviously we'll throw all those links down in the show notes there for everybody to go check it out. And wrapping this up, we'll start with Chris. If there was one miniature you could produce that is physically unable to be done right now in today's technology, what would it be? Whatever it is, motorcycle, whatever.
I haven't found one that I can't.
Oh, smack. I like it. All right, James, what about you? And don't say the latest Blood Bowl mummies.
oh no, there's some really cool 40K stuff out there that I'm sure we could print, but I don't even know the full lore on the big, what is that big ship that they printed like 500
or
of?
the Thunderbird?
Yeah, that's the
Thunderhawk.
one. Yeah, Thunderhawk. I would love to see a 3D printed Thunderhawk, just scaled up just a little bit so you can fit your Space Marines and all that in there.
Squidmar
so
just did a video on it. He put it out, I think, last week. They Games Workshop sent him one of the. They only printed so many copies of. This is like in the early '90s of the fine resin or it's made out of lead. The thing is super heavy, pewter. Of the Thunderhawk gunship, and it came in a wooden box, and it has a key, and it's got the 40K Aquillas, the eagles, the double-headed eagles on each corner. It's beautiful. If you guys haven't seen that, go check it out. It's I mean, and that's where the technology was back then, but it cost 8,000 pence, I believe they said.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I've watched that. It's pretty cool.
So that's pretty amazing. Well, Chris, that's neat to know that there is nothing you think you can't print. That is super cool.
Well, I haven't found it yet.
Yeah, right. That's the key word. You haven't found it yet. So it's out there. The proverbial unicorn is just out of your grasp. But I think it's super cool. I've looked at your stuff. I urge all the Meanie Army to go check out their website and look at the super cool stuff. Do you do anything with Etsy at all? Is that a platform you stay away from?
No, we don't. The only place we sell is from our web store directly.
On your web store. Great. Okay. So that's cool. And what is it a challenge right now with VAT and all of that stuff? Do you have problems with that, or it's easy peasy for you guys?
No, it's easy enough. Yeah.
Who does the shipping? Is that you, Chris?
That's me.
Yeah. So you take it to the local post office and off it goes. So again.
Yeah. Anything Canada-wide, we just use the local Canada Post.
Right.
But for the rest of the world, there's an outfit here called DYK Post.
Right, I've heard of them.
And they route the mail through the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And it
stuff
ends
from
up
Canada. Yeah,
ends up being a fraction of the cost.
Yeah. So James, when I send you that order, take care of that, buddy.
You just let me know, buddy.
Well, Chris, this is like really cool, dude. It's neat. I've been telling James I wanted to get you on the show for a couple of months now, and it just hasn't worked out. So I'm glad you were able to. I'm glad I was able to find some time to get you on, and you were able to do it, because I think that 3D printing stuff is just the bee's knees. It's super cool, and I love, like I said, I've drooled over your website endlessly. It's bookmarked on my work computer. Don't tell my boss. And I go to look at it just to see what new stuff goes up. So, again, James, go ahead and give us the website.
It is Gyrmforge.com.
All one word.
Grym
There you
Forge.com.
And Facebook under Gyrmforge.
Yes, it is.
All right, he's doing
And
that
it's,
push.
I've sent you the links so you can put them in.
I want you to throw it on air because some people don't read the links, believe it or not. And they're like, why didn't you say it in the show? I couldn't write it down. I'm like, dude, all you have to do is cut and paste. Come on. But you'll be surprised, dude. People are lazy, and the meanies are no exception. I love them all, but they're human beings. Chris, buddy, please keep up the good work. Hopefully we'll get you on maybe after the pandemic, and we'll talk about how insanely busy you are because of the Meanie Army just has you printing all kinds of crazy shit. And we'd love to get on and do it again. James, as always, brother, I love you. Congratulations on your soon-to-be wedded nature. Tell her she can run now. It's not too late. Just let her know. She can come to America.
She has her own Age of Sigmar army.
I know, right? How lucky are you, man? My wife is like, you're painting those fucking plastic things again? Jeez. Get a life, But she puts up with my hobby, but it's great that your wife plays as well. That's super cool. My wife does encourage me. She just, likes to take the checkbook away from me. I won't cry about it. I won't, I promise. I'm a big boy. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a great hobby. Chris, thank you for all your hard work, sir, in making some people's dreams come true. I hope the feedback that you get is amazing because the stuff I see on the website is absolutely spectacular. So I'll be placing my order one day as soon as I can get people to the table. I don't think I have anything else. Is there anything you want to say in parting, Chris?
I'm just cutting you a coupon code.
Oh, the meanies get a coupon code. Yes. That is awesome. Thank you, sir. Why didn't you come up with that, James? You're supposed to be the guy that does that shit.
I was messaging Chris to do it as we spoke.
I don't believe you. Chris, I think you should fire him and hire me. I'm obviously better at this radio stuff than he is. Jeez. Done. No, because then I got to work with him, so all I would hear is him complain, you took my job. I got to get a game of Blood Bowl going with him. I want those.
Just wait till I have my stadium printed.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Nice.
we're in process.
Chris is probably like, son of a... It could be worse.
It's a long print, yeah.
Oh. But you have so many printers that I imagine you can partition it out and do little pieces.
Yeah, the problem is finding a point where the printers aren't currently busy.
Yeah. So in other words, James, you're costing him money.
Yeah, mine gets pushed back. If anybody who's ordering, you go ahead of me. It's all right.
Yeah, that's it, man. Well, in one day, right? And it'll be all the more sweeter once you put it on the table in front of you. Well, maybe once this pandemic gets over, I'll make a trip up there because you told me you were going to take me to your favorite game store. So,
hey man, you come up anytime. We got a bed for you here.
They're not letting us dirty Americans in the country right now. So, and have you seen this? Really? I wouldn't let me in the country either. Oh wait, no, go lock up your daughters.
Minnesota's okay. It's pretty much the same as Canada.
It's so funny, you and I going back and forth in our daily meetings about the temperature. It's just, and in Texas, like, oh, it's 40 degrees. It's so cold. I'm like, I didn't even own a coat when I lived in Texas or Louisiana. I didn't own a coat. I had a hoodie like this. That was my coat, so I keep my house at 65 and everyone's like, it's so cold in here. I'm like, shut up. So, yeah, I love the cold. So for me, it's a win-win. Yeah, we'll definitely make it happen one day, James. And maybe you can bring me over to Chris and give me an awesome tour, and I'll film it.
Absolutely.
I think people would dig to see the inner workings of that, Chris. How those printers all, seeing a row. I assume you have just benches with these things lined up, calibrated, and
Yeah, it's a
balanced.
whole wall right now.
That is awesome. Well, we got to get pictures and see it. It's pretty cool. So if people have questions, where do they email?
Sales at grimforge.com.
Okay, perfect.
Or .ca, sorry.
.ca. Grimforge, all one word, Grimforge?
Yes. Yep.
G-R-Y-M
.ca?
Forge.
Yeah, will get to us, but it takes a while.
Right. Well, we'll make sure we put all of that information down in the doobly-doo, as I like to say. Guys, that's all the questions I have. James, as always, sir, you rock. You're such an awesome person. I enjoy working with you, and this has been super cool because we never hardly ever get to chat. It's always work-related stuff. Chris, super cool dude, man. Awesome beard. Now, if we could get James to grow one, that would be amazing, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I lost the coin flip this year. Chris got to grow it and I had to shave.
I have to shave mine when winter's over. The wife's like, that's got to go now. So I shave it every summer. It comes off. And then usually around September when the temperature starts to drop, I start letting it grow. So it's not bad. Come out pretty good. So, well, guys, super awesome. Lots of fun. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with Mr. Mean. We'll get that coupon code put down there in the doobly-doo. And
yeah, I messaged it to you. So
thank you, sir. Very kind of you. Hopefully the meanies will take advantage of it, and I hope it brings you. I hope good fortune and fair weather in the future for your endeavors. And we'll get together and we'll do this again. So this is Chris with Gyrmforge and James with Gyrmforge. This is Mr. Mean signing off. Everybody, stay warm, stay healthy, wear your mask, and remember, Mr. Mean says, be nice.